Back with another one, Bad News Brown. It's going to be another episode of Crime and Punishment. This time, well, it looks like they arrested some people in the murder of the Florida rapper Julio Foolio. Look like they got three suspects, two suspects at large. Now, what do I say about that? Well, there is no happy ending to that story. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, when you disrespect the game, you're not actually going against your ops at that point. You're now going against certain principles. You're kind of going against the universe or whatever spiritual belief system that you may subscribe to. You kind of put certain principles in action. So the comeback is going to come back. And when it comes back, it just like in everything, it's always swift, sudden, and ironic. And I say that because, as we know, the rapper Julio Foolio, he was one of those, I guess, what they call, what is it, drill rappers, where he'll go to somebody grave site and rap and tease them and do whatever, basically disrespect the dead. And again, you don't disrespect the dead. See, it's one thing, and I ain't even about to mention that, regardless, you don't disrespect the dead. So he did, and he got killed on his birthday. So now the people who allegedly unalived him is now being arrested. But the moral to the story is don't disrespect the game. That's what I take from this situation. It's of course an unfortunate situation to all the parties involved, but this happens every day. So next topic. Old Boosie looked like the feds re-indicted him on that gun charge. And what's crazy about this situation is I guess they dropped the charges, the gun. But I guess since then he been on other platforms, and I guess he talked about how he smoked weed. So and that gave him enough to put the weed with the drugs to say he under the influence with guns, something along those lines. And now they just re-indicted him, and that's crazy. And I'm kind of thinking like, man, do they do that type of stuff to just everyday people? Like, I mean, I've been caught gun cases before, but in the state of California, and usually, well, maybe it would depend on the amount of drug you may have. But of course, if you get caught with both, then yeah, that's a possession for sale because they gonna frame it as if you got the weapon to protect the drugs. But in his case, he was I don't not that I know of, I don't think he was mentioning anything about marijuana distribution. It was just more or less to consume as far as smoking. But that was enough for them to move in. But again, like I'm saying, the feds even bother with something like that. And where I'm getting at is when you, I guess, become high profile. Because and there's been plenty of times I hear celebrities, ball players or whatnot getting arrested for certain stuff. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, man, you paid that much for a fine, man. I would have just did the time. And of course, I know that's easier. I ain't gonna say easier said than done, but if you don't look at it that way, if somebody is an adult, meaning if they grown and they a celebrity, of course they don't want to do time in jail. But as far as just people just targeting you, whether trumped up charges just to get a buck out of you or anything, but I'm just again, my thing is like, I mean, I know they targeting their ass, but to me that's hella frivolous for like the feds to come back on. But again, when you on these platforms, I don't know if they looking at it as you throwing it in their face or whatever. But again, I guess because he is famous, they're gonna pay more attention to it. But I don't necessarily think that's cool. But it is what it is. A lot of people probably saying he's dumb as hell for even talking about it or bragging about it. And I don't know. I just let me know. See, you gotta learn from other people's mistakes. So moving forward, if I ever consume marijuana, I doubt I would put it on camera, especially in this couple it with weapons. Even if the weapons, they would be, if I got them, they're gonna be legal. But regardless, I guess you don't volunteer information, the moral of that story. But crime and punishment, y'all. Bad News Brown.